All right. So, did you have any experience on Tinder, Davey and Benny?
Zero.
Neither of you have any.
Nothing.
I had a bit of experience.
Yeah, of course you did.
You know what I mean? I tried it out.
Did.
I gave it a
Fucking
go.
right.
I gave it a good pop.
So did you have big success on Tinder?
No, I went on one date.
Oh,
It didn't go anywhere. Episode 34. You know that no one ever hears what we talk about before we go live.
No.
So
coming soon. Coming soon to Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. So often we'll like talk about little things that we're going to talk about during the episode, or a rough plan, don't we?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll be like low energy after those chats. So that's why we come in swinging normally on our at the beginning, eh?
We take a deep breath, we hit record, we reset everything, and we come in hot.
Exactly, dude. You know what's interesting is I after listening to podcasts for many years, I never thought about what it'd be like to record one. I mean, you've got more experience than I running a podcast for many years, but when you actually think about it's to our listeners, it must be. I don't know. It's worth thinking about what it's like to actually. I know we essentially just have a conversation, don't we?
Yeah, we do. But I think dude. We've just been talking about this off air. So for everyone listening, we've just had a pretty long conversation before going live about a few things which we're going to touch on. But I agree with you 100% that being a content creator, whatever we call ourselves now with a podcast, we have a platform which we want to use for good. Ultimately, we've just gone. I mean, this whole series was created off trying to do the right thing by trying to help people, keep people entertained through tough times. So I think it would be insensitive of us to not mention and put out some thoughts, prayers, whatever, to anyone that's caught up in the current climate and what's going on in Ukraine and in Russia. So I think
absolutely,
Yeah, we would talk about it
at the minute, doesn't it? All the news and everything going on. I don't know how well versed our listeners are. I mean, compared to definitely myself, they're probably quite well versed, because I'm not well versed. I haven't paid attention to history. I feel like this is the first time in my adult life that I'm able to understand the bigger picture a little bit more. You know what I mean? Or like before, well, it's certainly the first time in my adult life something like this has happened. So what feels close to home?
It's there's been an interesting shift. I agree totally. I think with people becoming maybe a little bit more politically minded over the last couple of years, I've certainly seen it within my friendship groups. You know, people are, and I don't know if that is because we're going through such strange times with the evolution of news, media, this overload of information, or if it's because we're getting older and we're starting to have these conversations.
Hard to know, isn't it?
It's tough. I don't know, and it's something that I'm a little bit sort of, I wouldn't say worried about, but it's definitely something I think about a lot more. And especially also, just before we get into this, I want to say a massive thank you to a lot of people who reached out after the last episode where I mentioned some of the stuff that I was going through and thinking about, and this definitely doesn't help. Like, let's put it that way. You know, this constant barrage of information, this constant fear of anxiety, stress, worrying what's going on around you in the world, worried about humanity, where all this is going. So I definitely just want to mention that, because there's been a lot of people reach out and say some really, really nice things and offer some words of support. So thank you. It's much appreciated. And that's something going on what you just said about having this platform. You sometimes forget that there are people out there, you know, a lot of people out there listening. And when that comes back, you definitely realise it a lot more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's sort of a bit more tangible. You're like, oh shit, like people took that on board and have taken the time out to say something. So thank you to everyone out there who did that. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's just assume that most people out there, no, let's not assume, but let's just say that most people out there are like us, and we've decided over our adult lives and probably younger years to stay quite, what would you call it? I wouldn't say, that's not the word, numb. What is it? It's sort of naive to what goes on around the world politically.
Absolutely. I've kept my head in the sand. And actually, the subject of our actual podcast has a part to play in that. Mountain biking is a way of not thinking about adult things and what's going on in the world. I mean, quite frankly, throughout the period of my 36 years of life, if I knew all of the terrible things that had gone on in the world, and I was, I was completely versed on all of them, I think it would be. I think it would be quite sad. I probably wouldn't be as happy-go-lucky and. You know what I mean? Like the current news at the minute is so concentrated on one topic. If it was like that, it does quite often seem like the bad news, doesn't it? The news, but certainly now
if it bleeds, it leads. Unfortunately,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I'm with you there. I think what's interesting is like mountain biking is a distraction for most people. For yourself, it's also a job, which is amazing. You're very, very blessed to be in that situation. But also, people will come to this platform as a ways of escaping what's going on. But ultimately, it's a subject that I'd feel really bad just not talking about it. It's like
too right.
It is literally the elephant. Not literally. There isn't, but it is the elephant in the room, right? You can't just like go over it and just be like, oh, we'll never mention that, and hopefully we just sort of keep our head in the sand. So like you, I started seeing all this circulating a couple of weeks ago on the news. I personally don't watch the news. I choose to sort of again stay sort of naive and not really get too caught up in it, mainly because it's quite depressing. It's quite watching the news first thing in the morning could put your day quite negative. I prefer a different morning routine to watching the news, and the same in the evenings as well, man. There's probably a reason why they're on at those two times. You go to bed scared, you wake up scared. I don't know, but whatever. So I very much choose to avoid all that stuff. I sort of choose to stay in my lane and not get too caught up in it. I think I've got certain issues with that personally, whether not believing some of the stuff, again, that's something we can get into if you want, and I'm not saying I'm any sort of, I don't know what the word is, critical thinker or anything like that, but I do take a bit of a pinch of salt approach to a lot of stuff. That's not just the news, that's life in general, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good to question everything, absolutely.
Yeah. So I started seeing this stuff circulating a couple of weeks ago, and like you said yesterday, it's like, let's just try and get a bit of a timeline on what's going on. Just so, again, we've probably got listeners who are like, I don't know what's going on. All I see is Russia this, Ukraine that. So let's just try and, we'll give it an overarching view of what's going on. Hopefully it sparks some comments and some debate about what people think, which I think is maybe a good thing. I don't know.
It's good to get.
I'm waffling here because it makes me a bit nervous talking about this stuff.
Well, it is. Yeah, you don't want to say it wrong, but I think what we're trying to say is it would be good to get a bigger picture, and if we can just do it all together. I mean, I'll be quite frank. We've literally looked up a timeline of the Russia-Ukraine, like the events that led up to the invasion of the Ukraine by Russia.
Yeah.
So we've got these timeline bullet points. They're from a number of different news sources. And there's shit that's happened over the years that I have been aware of, but they just not felt. Yeah, it's just so far away from your. You don't feel like it's kind of even real quite often with the news. I think there's
definitely.
just that detachment because it's on the same screen as bloody Steven Seagal doing a backflip off a moving train. You know what I mean? It's just a detachment from, you're watching like a TV. It's like it doesn't almost feel real. It doesn't feel real, and certainly this whether I'm just older, like we were talking about, or this feels more real, doesn't it? Because it's the Ukraine. It's where you might go for a weekend break. Yeah,
it's not too far away. Really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not too far away from where we're literally sat recording this thing. So, okay. So let's just go through. We'll do an overview timeline of how we've ended up in this situation, or how these two countries have ended up in this situation. If there's anything we don't understand, because no doubt people listen to this as well might be like, I don't know what that means, but then we'll find out, and then we're gonna move on.
That's where we got Benny there at the ready, ready to. Nice.
Thanks for being in studio, Benny.
Pleasure to be back.
Cheers, dog.
Just be careful what you say.
Okay, so Benny.
Right, okay.
I'm gonna start. Right, my first bullet point. We'll do it. Should we do it one by one?
Yeah.
Yes.
On,
okay. Let's do that.
Sounds good.
Are you going on that link that I sent you? So we're just going to go.
I am indeed, which is the US news.
Okay. Perfect.
Which is no doubt a trusted source. It's fucking impossible, isn't it? The internet, dude. What are we doing here? Anyway, right. This happened.
Okay.
So December the 1st, 91, Ukraine becomes independent. So Ukraine became independent of the Soviet Union. They voted for independence. The Ukrainian people overwhelmingly support becoming a sovereign state.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't think that read properly for a second there, but
so I feel like we understand that, like, pretty much, right? So they made that vote. They've decided to go sovereign state. The only couple of words I don't quite understand in there is sovereign state. So I'm just going to do a quick Google of what that actually means.
This is good. I think this is good. It's good to work through it. But other than we sort of reveal ourselves as completely stupid, I think it's good to go through
I'm not scared of that anymore, dude. Been doing it for years.
Yeah, it's true. Also, Ukraine is the second largest country in Europe by landmass. Okay. So it is fucking massive. I knew it was massive, but honestly, until looking at it on a map, you don't realise quite how big the Ukraine is.
And just to clarify, a sovereign state, also known as sovereign country, is a political entity represented by one centralised government that has sovereignty over a geographic, land, basically.
Okay.
Happy with that?
I'm happy with that, yes.
Happy with that.
Davey, what happened on December the 5th, 94?
On December the 5th, 1994, the Budapest Memorandum on Security Assurances was signed in late 1994. This document was signed following Ukraine's agreement to transfer all nuclear weapons from the Cold War back to the Russian Federation, making Ukraine a non-nuclear power. Prior to this, Ukraine had physical possession of the world's third largest nuclear stockpile. In addition to Ukraine, the Budapest Memorandum was signed by the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia. All the signatories committed to honouring Ukraine's sovereignty and its right to its territory.
Right, there we go. I mean, the nuclear weapon stuff just seems terrifying. So crazy, doesn't it? So terrifying, so crazy. But I kind of understand. It goes to like the sort of Americans' gun argument, doesn't it? Like I understand if it's kind of like if one person has it, everyone has to have it, isn't it? It's not that we're all firing them at each other, but it's like I do understand what the purpose of them.
Everyone has none, or everyone has one.
Who actually had the first nuclear weapon? Like, who was it who started that chain of events?
That's a good question.
Because if no one had them, no one else would have them. Like you said, it's they've got one. It's almost like the space race, right? They're trying to go. We'll 100%. Go first. Like it's.
What was that terrifying quote?
The United States was the first one in 1945. On July 16th was the first nuclear weapons explosion in New Mexico.
Okay.
What's that quote? The "I am thingy, the bringer of war." It's terrifying.
Is that the guy that invented? Is that Oppenheimer who invented the nuclear bomb?
I think it is Oppenheimer, isn't it? Yeah. That quote is absolutely. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. I mean, that is such a terrifying quote, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, it's quite literally what a nuclear bomb is, isn't it?
J. Robert Oppenheimer.
That's right.
I mean, fucking honestly, sat here with you two, you just think, what the fuck are we doing? You know, making nuclear bombs and stuff. I mean, it seems so simple now, and I know it's not, and I know I'm being dumb, but really, when you go through it, it just seems.
What on earth are we doing with nuclear weapons?
Yeah. Often these things just seem crazy, don't they?
I often have the exact same thoughts. In fact, quite a lot. You know, thinking about, why aren't we just getting along? Like, why don't people just? We should all have this overview of wanting to look after this beautiful planet, look after each other, and everyone enjoys this very, very, very small amount of time that we're allowed to live on this planet.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, we're here for a blink, and to think that any of that time is spent fighting other people, killing people, stressed, anxious, depressed, anything other than blissful is crazy when you really think about it, right? Like people dedicate their whole lives to fighting people, and you know, a lot of that might boil down to religion or whatever. But anyway, that's my personal.
No, it is true. It makes you think. Like, what we need is like an alien invasion, but a real fucking shit one. You know, like shit aliens. So we can all just club together, hold hands, beat these really. You know, they've got like they're crap aliens, you know?
Yeah.
We got them
yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
That's what we need for everyone to be friends and realise that there's more to it.
They come to Earth in like the Fiat Panda of spaceships.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. How dumb is that, my contribution? Anyway, let's move swiftly onwards before I say more shite.
Yeah. Next one.
It's tough, dude, because you want to make stuff light-hearted, don't you? It's not like I'm fucking versed in how to talk sensibly about shit.
It's kind of what we've made a living out of doing, so please, if anyone does think that we're being anything other than sensitive, we're not. We're just trying to do our thing, right? Like, this is our personality, really. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, anyway.
Right, November, December 2004. The Orange Revolution overturns election results. So, a presidential election between Viktor Yushchenko, a Western-oriented candidate, and Viktor Yanukovych, who was supported by Russia, so it's just East-West again, creates massive controversy. Yushchenko was mysteriously poisoned before the election, but was able to recover. Victory was declared in favour of Yanukovych,
I'd say?
Yeah, Yanukovych, it's got to be, isn't it? But the election was widely seen as fraudulent. Ukrainians take to the street wearing orange, which was Yushchenko's campaign colour. By December, protesters were able to force a revote, resulting in a victory for Yushchenko.
Okay.
So basically, it was like a Western. You say Western, but you know, it just makes sides, doesn't it? It sucks, but a Western. Win.
But also, we're seeing there some sort of political. What would you call it? They're poisoning people, right? I mean, that's so. There's some sort of, what would you call that? Political, not uncertainty, some sort of corruption. That's the word I'm looking for.
Corruption, absolutely, yeah.
Some sort of corruption, probably coming up right there. Okay, we're going to fast forward.
Yeah, I mean, fucking pretty gnarly. If you look into sort of Putin's history, there's a fair bit of gnarliness has gone on in there.
Yeah.
When he was like mayor of St. Petersburg and stuff, like there's a fair bit of that goes on in the world, obviously, but certainly it seems like a bit of a signature.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, fast forward into 2008, so 4 years later. Russia fights Ukrainian NATO membership. In early April of 2008, a NATO summit began with intense debate about extending a membership action plan, an MAP for short, to Ukraine. In order to gain membership to NATO, a military alliance between 28 European countries and 2 North American countries dedicated to preserving peace and security in the North Atlantic area. Countries first must have a MAP, so an MAP. Putin makes his opposition to Ukrainian membership known to NATO leaders, at one point allegedly telling President George W. Bush that Ukraine is not even a real nation state. NATO does not offer Ukraine a MAP, so a membership action plan.
Right, there we go. And I guess it didn't offer it because it was going to cause friction with a superpower.
Yeah.
Everything's so sensitive, isn't it? Everyone like tippy toes around each other.
Yeah.
Crazy to think, isn't it? And then, and certainly from Putin's position, I guess NATO seems like the enemy. Even though it's supposedly a peaceful group.
Yeah.
It's not a group of war, but to him, it can change and become.
Oh, you mean that they can like switch almost and become like a... Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think that's his perspective. I think his perspective on it is that NATO isn't a peaceful anti-war group of countries. I mean, I could be off, but I think that's what it is. And obviously, he has to protect from that border for his country, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should shut up and move on.
It's so interesting.
November.
It's so interesting how long Putin has been in power for as well, though. So
he was in, and then he left for a bit, didn't he?
So
and
his first term was 1999, 2008. Then he had a break, and then has been there since 2012 till another 10 years till now.
Yeah, he had to have a break back then. It was like getting your visa again, wasn't
Basically.
it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Not visa, but when people go and do a season in Whistler, and then they have to come home for a bit and then go out.
Yeah, Putin went to the season.
He did a quick season.
Right, November 2013 to February 2014. Euromaidan protests prompt sudden change in government. After promising to work towards a relationship with the European Union, President Yanukovych, I'm butchering that.
That was good.
He ran for president again and won in 2010. Changes political direction and begins to orient Ukraine towards Russia. So this, combined with the controversial arrest of political opponent Yulia Tymoshenko, sparked widespread protests about perceived government corruption. There are protests across the country, centering on Maidan Square in Kiev. At least 130 people were killed. Yanukovych flees to Russia, and the new leadership commits to orienting Ukraine towards the European Union. So, yeah, looks like it all fucked up. And
So there was a change in political ideology almost.
Yeah.
And that's what's sparked the protests, etc. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
So, again, it favoured NATO and the West. That not favoured them, but it ended up being that they were trying to make a more Western, a more NATO-based, and a NATO-friendly government.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Okay. Exactly.
Okay. So, February 2014 to March 2014, Russia seizes Crimea, creating international outrage. Russia seizes Crimea, a Ukrainian peninsula with a predominantly ethnic Russian population. In the aftermath of the Euromaidan protests, Russian troops occupy key sites on the peninsula wearing military uniforms with Russian insignias removed. The annexation prompts international outrage and is condemned by the United Nations and the European Union.
There you go. So Crimea is the bit that sticks out on the bottom of the Ukraine into, is it the Black Sea?
Yes, I believe it is, yep.
I think a lot of people were saying that, I think a lot of the reason they did that was that it doesn't freeze over, and all of Russia's naval bases freeze over for a large portion of the year, whereas that will give them naval access.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's obviously really valuable to Russia. It also has loads of gas and oil. Crimea down there has been it's one of the most rich in gas and oil in Europe, I think. Yeah, which is how Russia gets its money. It's a petro state, so I think that was another part of why they.
So they took that.
That's a giant.
They
part
took it
why
basically.
They want it. Yeah, because it's both good for business and for their military.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, right. That makes sense.
April 21, 2019. Dude, I suck at the names. Volodymyr Zelensky is elected the president of Ukraine. That was all right, wasn't it? Volodymyr is a former comedian, overwhelmingly defeated the pro-Russian incumbent Petro Poroshenko in the presidential election. Zelensky's party also wins a majority of seats in the parliament. This is the first in Ukrainian history. Zelensky's campaign promises including ending the war with Russia and rooting corruption out of the Ukrainian government. So when it talks about the war with Russia, at that point there are a few of these states around the outside that are Russian ally states. They want sort of independence from the rest of Ukraine. So I think there's 2 on the east and then 1 on the west, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'm up to speed. I think I know more about this than when we went into it, which is good.
Yeah, too right, yeah. I hope you feel that way too.
December 2021. Putin demands security guarantees. Early in 2021, Zelensky cracked down on pro-Russian Ukrainian oligarchs, including Viktor Medvedchuk, a close friend of Putin. Thank you. I've watched a lot of ice hockey over the years.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Subsequently, Putin deploys increasing numbers of troops near the Ukrainian border and publishes an article claiming that Russians and Ukrainians are one people. By December, tens of thousands of Russian troops are deployed to the borders, and Putin issues demands to NATO and the United States. Among these demands is the Ukraine never be admitted to NATO, a request rejected by the Biden administration.
There we go. Okay. So again, it's sort of like NATO is this enemy to him. He's obviously threatened by NATO, or I would say it's that's what it seems to be about, right?
It certainly looks that way. I'm just a little bit sort of one thing that does confuse me a little bit is this new president that came in.
Yeah.
In Ukraine. So they Oh, sorry, no, don't worry. I've just got myself a little bit confused. But obviously, he's all right. He's a former comedian. You know, I don't know what his political past is or anything like that. It's probably a little bit. Looks like it's a little bit like Trump becoming president. He's just a public figure that had no political background at all.
Where are we at now? So that's December 21, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious how that guy got in. But he must have been a good candidate. He must have got good ideas that the Ukrainian people voted this dude in. So it looks from the outside like he seems to be a good guy, right?
Yeah, totally. Something that hasn't. Do you mind me? So something that they didn't mention about Crimea is that Crimea has failed a bit for Russia. It hasn't failed because I mean they've taken it and they've built a massive bridge there and it's now connected to mainland Russia and all of that. But what Crimea is not flourishing because it lacks fresh water, and this is largely because the Ukraine the water is supplied from the Ukraine, the fresh water, and they dammed that off. So they're down to crazy low amounts of fresh water in Crimea. Right. So that I don't know why it doesn't include that. I thought that was that was that obviously they mugged him off, didn't they? They fucking stopped the water from being supplied. So I don't know. I thought it was worth mentioning because.
And do you know when that was?
I don't know when that was. No, I'm just surprised it wasn't in the timeline, to be honest, because I feel like it's quite important.
Seven years ago.
Okay, there you go. That is right, though, isn't it? That did happen, right?
Yeah. Ukraine dammed North Crimean Canal 7 years ago, cutting off the source of nearly 90% of the region's fresh water and setting it back to pre-1960s.
This is fucking... Dude,
and that's almost like them saying, I don't know, why would they do that? What sort of political stand is that? Saying, fuck you for...
fuck with us. Yeah, I mean, it got taken back. It's really bizarre, isn't it? Because it's I think Crimea, I watched some documentary. Dude, I've been trying to watch as much stuff as I can, and it's really not fun, but I just try and get a bit of a picture, especially if we're going to talk about it. But Crimea seemed to me like it was a bit of a holiday destination. It was a bit like where Russians went on holiday and stuff. It's a really nice spot, and it's been turned into it's been kind of militarized a bit. So it's now this, like we were talking about, a big navy base presence and military everywhere. And I think it's just not gone quite, to Ukraine. It was taken away from them. I mean, it's so bizarre because we've never dealt with our country's identity. It's been the UK since the day I was born here. It's always been the same, really. Yeah. Imagine all these people have gone through, on this timeline. You think about it, you've gone through different identities. All of a sudden, your country's got a new name, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Different uniform, different army, different Olympic team, all of that stuff. Different. It would make a massive difference, and we don't have an example of that to.
No, you're right. It's hard to even put yourself.
Yeah, it's hard to
in
relate
that shoe at all. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It isn't relatable. Let's be honest to us at all.
No.
So, okay. Do you want to take the next one?
Yes, I will. Yeah. Sorry if I do tangents.
No, please.
Are we up to? So we are up to
February 21st, 2022.
Oh, I think mine. Oh, has mine been skipping? Number 10.
Yeah. We're on number 10.
Okay, sorry. February 21st, 22. Russia recognises breakaway Ukrainian regions as sovereign. So, there you go. So those are the bits that I was talking about on the east and the west.
Okay.
In 2014, the Ukrainian regions of Donetsk and Luhansk broke away from Ukraine under the leadership of what the Ukrainian government considered to be Russian-backed terrorists. Following the breakdown of relations with NATO and the West in late February, Putin recognised these territories as independent states and sent troops in to keep the peace. So there you go.
Okay. I think I understand that.
Yeah, I think I understand that. It kind of goes back to what we're saying about that kind of mixed heritage or identity or.
How do you feel like those two regions, so Donetsk and Luhansk, broke away from Ukraine? How did they break away from Ukraine? Will that be down probably to a political vote? Do you want to be here or do you want to be here? So it just they just break away.
Literally
It's almost like here we got Scotland, Wales wanting to break away
Yeah.
from mainland. Yeah, United Kingdom,
Exactly.
Great
You just
Britain,
don't want to be
whatever we call
dragged
it.
into. I mean, it's the reason we have countries. Different people have different,
Yeah,
ideologies,
ideologies.
ideologies, or even just geographic, just like what do you call it? Like properties. Obviously,
Okay.
if you we don't have any oil or whatever, so we don't have to think.
You know
about
what's
that.
really difficult as well? Just sorry, on a bit of a tangent about stuff
Yeah.
like actually reading this and trying to understand it. Is I notice that when I read anything, whether it's books, I read it and it doesn't quite go in.
Yeah,
so you have to go back, you have to discuss it probably, and
It's
then
good
and
to
then
have
I've just read it
conversation,
again. I've literally read it again, and I'm like, oh, of course, it says here Russian-backed terrorists. Like the Ukrainian government considered it was Russian-backed terrorists that led those two regions to leave, basically. So.
But yeah,
That, I guess what they're saying is it looks like they're probably feeling that they've been infiltrated by Russians.
it's bizarre though, isn't it? Because it's like, everyone in an someone we would consider an expat. They've opened a fish and chip shop in Spain. They're immigrants, and yet you see people at a border and you'd think immigrants. You wouldn't think, oh, they're. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's really hard
Yeah.
to see. So to the Ukraine, they were Russian terrorists, which is, I would. No, I wouldn't agree. I don't know. I don't have a fucking clue. I don't have a clue. But
Yeah, I don't know.
to the Ukrainians, that's what they believe them to be, and to the Russians,
Yeah.
they obviously, yeah.
They
But-
just think they're
but
doing
the-
the right thing.
Yeah, the other weird thing is we don't live with any borders, any lines through the land. So like I remember when I first drove across Europe, I found it bizarre that you just
Yeah.
drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just drive
Yeah,
through.
totally.
You're like, how the fuck is it not? And it's no different, and it's no different because it's no different. You know what I mean? They're
Just
made
land.
up. They're
Just
lines
made up lines
yeah.
on a map.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
crazy,
And-
isn't it?
and
To
what
think,
we're
to think
talking
that we
about-
have borders is I don't know, it's kind of crazy, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we are everything. It's like that spiritual belief of like, who and what are you? I am everything. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
made up of land. You're not made to be in a specific area in a specific house. You're meant to just wander or whatever. It's crazy to think that there's borders, really. But I guess there's some sort of reasoning for it. I don't know.
Yeah, and like even if you go over the border from France to Belgium, maybe they speak a different language. They speak like Flemish in Belgium or whatever,
Yeah.
or the same
Yeah.
again from Belgium to Holland and then to Germany. Whereas here, so from the Ukraine states and then these new Russian independent states or states that are recognised as Russian states, it would be very much more similar, wouldn't it? Like borders always fascinate me because they're like this whole kind of, stepping over the border or like it just doesn't. It is exactly what you say. It doesn't mean it doesn't feel
Doesn't
like it
mean
means
anything.
anything when you're there. But then when you're there, you sort of, I don't know. It's like interesting to me.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so February 24th, 2022, Russia launches a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And depending on when you're listening, this is about 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Days after recognizing the breakaway territories, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The invasion began in the eastern Ukrainian territory of Donbass. Zelensky declared martial law in Ukraine and officially broke diplomatic ties with Russia. Putin's actions were condemned across the world and within Russia.
There we go. I mean, that
Okay.
feels like, that feels like it's up to date now, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
they're still currently, as we speak about this, I don't think they're in Kiev yet, are they?
As we record, they're not. No.
They're not yet. They're handing out weapons. We've got the UK has troops in Latvia, or they're sending troops up to Latvia. Obviously,
Right.
from a map perspective, that's quite close. That's a bordering nation.
So are we at this point? Again, I'm an idiot. I don't know. Are we somewhat involved? Like we're not. Okay.
We are in that we're in NATO.
In NATO we are, but we
Yes.
haven't sent any troops or
Course.
anything.
We're not doing no troops. Okay, right. Understood.
We have troops
Okay.
in Latvia.
Troops in Latvia,
No?
but I don't think we're planning on going to Ukraine because I think at that point,
No, it's to no. That's it. It's to show border
Exactly,
force
exactly.
or whatever or support.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Which is so funny that like war.
And again, there's all these like
Austria.
political chess pieces, isn't it? Political chess
Yeah.
piece. Okay, we'll put that there. There's a really interesting app where you can look at where military planes are.
Right.
So
yeah.
my friend's really into it, and I got the app off him the other day. In case anyone does want to look, it is called Open ADSB. And basically, you can go on it and it'll show you where. Not all of them, obviously, they're not going to show everyone where everything is. But it is interesting looking at like how military planes are starting to move around Europe and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's happening, but I just like looking at. Okay, that's a cool plane.
No, it's super interesting. Yeah, it's super interesting. I think it's interesting as well that before this, obviously, it was reported on that these tanks were moving from Russia to surround the Ukraine, because I think what is it? Is it Belarus? Is a friend?
Belarus is a friend state of Russia. They are on the Russian side.
Of Russia, yeah. So they had moved all of these around, and that alone is an act of, that's sending a message. And I think probably it was thought that was where it was going to end. The message was sent, and it was going to be Ukraine doesn't join NATO, and then the troops go
So
back.
there was a photo released yesterday, like a satellite photo, that showed a 40-mile vehicle stretch length convoy going from Ivankiv to Hostomel Airport, which is near Kiev. So 40 miles.
And that's people
that's
leaving.
the Russian army.
Oh, sorry.
40 miles.
Yeah.
Right. I think I've got to mention this. It's on my mind. But I think what is important is now there's a lot of confusion. I mean, that's why we've done this, because we were confused. We don't know what's going on. And you see a lot of stuff in the media which is turning out to be false, which is really scary that this is happening. Because I think this is the first time I remember in my lifetime, really, where maybe, again, it's because I'm a bit older, a bit more tuned in, that you're starting to take a bit more of an interest. And it's quite limited for me, I'll be honest with you. But, you see... I got a few examples already that there was a really good... In fact, the BBC actually did a decent job of this. So there was, like, for example... There was an image of Zelensky, the Prime Minister, whatever, of Ukraine, visiting troops, and there was this photo, and everyone will have seen it. He's got a vest on, bulletproof vest. He's looks like he's out, basically fighting a war. But it's come out that that's a picture from last year.
Yeah. Like
so there's a lot of these little things. Yeah, there's a lot of these little things that I think you need to be very mindful of, and I don't think it's bad to take an interest, but I think it is important to take a lot of it. It sounds terrible saying this, but be very mindful of what you're reading and what try and fact check a little bit, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I think the problem is it's like a race to get the story out, isn't it?
We're a headline, so we know what it's like with content, right? We're 1 minute videos is that's the hit, right? So we're a headline based society really now. We just want the bare bones of it, right, I want to read 3 or 4 lines, I want to know everything that's going on, and then I'm going to skim past, and that's yesterday's news already, right? So like you said, Ollie, it's important because now it's becoming a race to get clicks, because that's what pays the bills, right? This is what newspapers rely on: clickbait, articles, photos that scare people, and that's where this gets really sticky now, because that can obviously have a really negative impact in accelerating the situation. I just don't know how. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what I thought that when I thought, because when you take a step back, and I mean, even if you just go on your YouTube and you click news, you're aware that it's an algorithm that you're being shown, and it's like across the board, it's like loads and loads of different news outlets, but you get these waves of what. Obviously, some of the waves are just news. They're all news related, all as in current affairs. But you do notice one person might report on what a nuclear attack looks like, and then you'll notice it's got a knock-on effect. So it's it has this knock-on effect. Everyone's fuck. Well, we should then talk about what a nuclear attack looks like, and then it does just feel like it amplifies a situation. Totally. I mean, if you boil it down to even what we do, if there's news in the mountain bike industry or action sports, we're going to cover it. Everyone's going to cover it. We're all going to try and put a bit of a spin on it.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Yeah,
and it's the same thing, but it feels very
weird
interesting
when it's war. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's war, and people are rushing for content, and maybe they're not fact checking. I don't know. There was one here that I looked at, which basically someone had shared it, showing it was a power plant in Ukraine that had been bombed, Luhansk, and it's been shared by. Well, at the point of me looking at this, it's had 128,000 views, but it's not. It's a video of a chemical plant in China from 2015. So how many people are going to be like, oh my god? But also that knock-on effect of people being even more scared. Like, my god, look at this.
You have to be aware of it because, like, exactly like you say, and like it's like a butterfly effect. Like it can start off like something. It gets posted, and then someone sees it gets posted and thinks, oh, let's repost that. That's interesting, and the internet is weird, isn't it, in itself?
Yeah.
Like
but media, not just the internet. Media, in general.
Media, but also it's gnarlier through the internet, I think, because it climbs the ranks of like trusted sources almost, because it's something that can start as just like someone posting something can like accelerate towards. It goes up through these steps, whereas it should be before it's released fact checked to a level that.
Yeah,
so I mean? It's like
again,
Chinese whispers. I feel like it's like
who fact checks the fact checkers? That's the thing that goes around a lot,
indeed,
right? So where does it stop? Interested? I don't know, man. I'm glad we've covered it briefly for 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
but
it
needs more attention.
No.
I think we've done the right thing. It was nice to understand it a little bit better myself and understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm glad it's a good thing to sit and do.
Hey, I tell you what, I was at the airport, and they reckon that was a cyber attack as well, don't they? A lot of the planes got cancelled. I just about got on one because I was flying back from Tuscany. But that was I think that was traced back to Russia. Oh, wow. Yeah,
that's why
cyber attacks is such a weird.
That's why
thought,
Elon Musk has allowed for Starlink to be used in the Ukraine. Do you know Starlink?
Yeah, I saw that. He's been shipping Starlink portals or whatever. I don't know what they are. Is it a big box from what it looks like from the photo?
Yeah.
It's a satellite.
It's the world's fastest satellite internet. But it means if there is a cyber attack, you're basically then attacking the US because you're attacking their satellites, clearly. But it's then free.
It's the US.
To all Ukraine. People who live there, they can all use it for free. I've seen a lot about the UK companies like E saying if you want to contact anyone in the UK in the Ukraine, it's free to text them, call them, or anything. Yeah.
Brilliant. It is nice, and it's very unfortunate, but it's nice to see people just
banding together,
come together and support. But I think Ollie, you said this just the other day about like, okay, we're all banding, but like make. I don't really know how to put it. I'm probably not going to say it, but I don't know. Like we're all banding towards one side, but is that seems to be a good thing? I guess. Does that make any sense? I'm such an idiot, but everyone's rallying behind Ukraine. Because that seems to be the way that they're being sort of. You
can just go with what you're. What can you do? What is news?
And like you said before, it seems like most people in Russia aren't a fan of what's going on. They're quite embarrassed. They're quite,
I mean, that is why it's important to look back. Look at the timeline and look at like. General history, which is something I don't do enough. I truly don't, and it's like I do actually find stuff fascinating. I just have my head in the sand too much, but sometimes it's not a bad place to have your head. Ultimately,
it's not. Sometimes it's not. It can be quite quiet down there. Interesting though. We're in a very interesting space, like you said, with the whole cyber thing. I love what Anonymous have been doing. I say love. See, I don't know if it's terrorism. I don't know, but it seems to be a good thing that they're doing.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So I found that really interesting. That one that you sent me.
Yeah.
So basically, they're saying go on. They're going on every restaurant in Russia. They're just starting this movement going on every restaurant in Russia and doing a Yell review that says we should pull out of the war in the Ukraine.
Basically,
and they're providing the Russian tech, but it just
for
seems
it and everything.
Yeah, it just seems.
And they're systematically shutting down any website that might aid them in this operation.
It just seems so bizarre, doesn't it? It's like,
but it's also like it's not.
Attack. Like
it's not. It is political, but it's not like we're doing it as a government or Ukraine are doing it as a government. It's just this separate entity, party, this group of hackers that are all anonymous, who are working to fight for the people, which I think is quite interesting. Who'd have thought that had ever happened in our sort of lifetime.
Bizarre,
I bet if you told
isn't it?
someone back in fighting, in World War One or Two that this was going to happen,
Absolutely
they'd be like,
bizarre, yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder
I
what
don't know.
information
It's a
there
very
could be.
interesting time. It's sad it's very sad in a way that this is almost too much information,
Yeah,
mate.
absolutely. I tell you what, if you've made it this far on episode 34 of The Ride Companion, you're doing very well. Now we're gonna change gear now, because I think we've tried our hardest to actually be serious and talk about current affairs.
Yeah.
Now it's back to a normal show, and I hope everyone's all right in the Ukraine.
Me too. Thoughts and prayers with everyone.
Absolutely.
Stay safe. So, Ollie, I've got a question for you.
Please.
Trying to switch gears. It's going to be tough, though, with this one.
It's a tough gear switch, isn't it?
Can we just, drop a dick joke in? Or, I don't know.
I feel like we should do all the disclaimers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like that's what we should do. By the way, we don't think that we're important or that we have good opinions or that anything we say is of value. We're just trying to open a conversation. We'd love to hear what you think.
Vladimir Putin listens to Mountain Bike Podcast and switches gears on that entire operation.
Imagine,
Yeah, anyway. So, we missed this last week because it just came out as we recorded. So, Discovery Channel buying the rights to the Downhill World Cups.
Big un, huh?
Dope or nope? Is it good? Is it bad? I've been having a little bit of a flit around. We've had a few people reach out wanting to give me their opinion, which has been quite nice, so appreciate that. I don't want to take that opinion of someone, especially that is quite close to you, Ollie, and I know quite well. He sent me a really interesting WhatsApp thread, and I don't want to just regurgitate that because it's not fair.
Please do. Because, well, right, okay, fair enough.
Do you know what I mean? It's not really fair to regurgitate that, so I always want to have a conversation with you about it, Ollie. So,
please.
Discovery Channel have come in, they've bought the rights to the UCI Downhill World Cups. That's cross country and downhill, obviously.
Yeah.
8 years, so 2023, so it starts next year.
I mean,
to 2030.
Mad, yeah.
So there's a few big questions.
Does it say what that deal was worth, by the way?
Dude, I've been looking everywhere trying to find out what that deal's worth. Yeah, I've been looking, and maybe the Generation Z guy can find it, Ben Z, but I don't think it's public knowledge, and I don't think a lot of these deals are public knowledge. Because what I was doing, I was trying to figure out a sport which is similar to mountain biking, and what those TV deals are worth. So I was looking at World Surf League, how much do they get in? I was looking at cage fighting, a lot different, but I'm looking at fringe sports basically, not mainstream football, rugby, cricket, etc.
It does all apply.
And dude, you can't find you can't find anything.
Really? What about the Reebok deal? I remember that when that came about in the UFC, the Reebok deal was a big thing, wasn't it? Yeah, it was huge. And you can see the Premiership numbers; they're massive. They're in the I think it's $5 billion that BT paid for that. So I think the interesting topic here for me is how big mountain biking is, how big cycling is, how much is this deal worth? I honestly have no idea. I can't find out. But it's going to be substantial for an 8-year sports deal. It's not going to be pennies that, and it's in a sport that is exciting. It's just gone through a huge growth trajectory through lockdown. It's only seeming to get bigger. I guess a few of the points are, is it only getting bigger because of Red Bull's involvement? And when they dip out, does it fall off a cliff? I don't know. Yeah, I guess I feel more unprepared for this than fucking talking about
Yeah, sorry, I should have told you I wanted to talk about this.
Mate, not at all, no. I feel like I should know more almost. I don't know what... So, what sports do Discovery currently cover?
Well, they own Eurosport.
Okay.
So a lot. Yeah,
so
they got football, hockey, pool. Dude, they're involved in a lot of stuff by the looks of things. And they're also currently trying to go 50-50 with BT Sport, because BT Sport are trying to pull out of a lot of sports. So Discovery are big in the game, dude. And we know they own other media outlets as well.
Yeah. So
of which we know of quite well, because it's not a secret. It's like GMBN, GCN, owned by the Discovery Network.
I think the point I was almost thinking in my head was that, okay, so what we're really talking about is a different title here, rather than they're still going to do an amazing job of covering it, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of actually quality of footage, it's not going to go downhill all of a sudden.
I dare say Discovery are going to know a thing or two about being outdoors and covering sporting events.
Yes.
They are going to know
there
what's
you go.
going on. And they've
So
obviously looked at it and they've seen that they can make changes.
Okay, yeah. So what changes there are there are like regional changes, I guess.
Okay.
I suppose that actually is the same for Red Bull, but I know that it's different to get it in different countries. I wonder whether it'll be further. It'll be more difficult, or whether you have to have more membership, or pay, or a paywall, or I don't know.
I feel like these are the big. Like, if you read through, I avoid these a lot, but like the pink bike comments, people's initial thoughts are, will it stay free? That's like the biggest one. Will it stay free? And at the moment, they've not actually said if it will or not. But
shortly followed by, what's Warner doing?
What's Warner doing? That is literally, that is pretty much it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because, Warner is downhill without Warner? I don't know.
I can't imagine.
And who else? Who else would replace Warner, do you think?
You can't. There's no one.
Who else? There is no one. It's tough, man. What an amazing situation for Rob to be in, though. And he's worked his ass off to be there, right? But
he worked hard, hasn't he? He's not
interested to be in that position where, most fans of a sport, I dare say, 90%, probably more, 95% of people.
Here is a weird one. It almost, totally, yeah. It is weird that a company acquisition, which is essentially what this is, can affect an entire sport, because it can affect the whole sport can be affected, because it's like cross country as well, and it's just it's everything about the competitive channel of our sport is now in the hands of someone completely different. He clearly knows a thing or two, but it's just it does have.
There is a lot of questions there, and what I find quite interesting, dude, is that Pink Bike did something where they asked athletes what they thought, right?
Yeah.
What I find is quite interesting is that the athletes, so the stars, the talent, have no idea what this looks like. Now, I find that super interesting. Yeah. That they're almost, not employees, but it's those guys. That's why you tune in. You don't tune in to fucking look at the quality of the broadcast, right? You tune in because you want to see Bernard win whatever these people's runs. They should have, in my opinion, way more of a say in what's going on, what they feel like the direction of the sport is, how they want it to be perceived. I feel like that's a big thing, and I don't know if other sports include their talent, let's say, in these deals. I feel like they would. I don't know why. I just feel like they would.
Absolutely no idea. Yeah, I guess there should be like a riders representative. I don't know if there is.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is. But also, sponsorship deals are reliant on this stuff. So if you're taking Red Bull away, so it's not on that thing, and you're as a team manager going to a big brand, let's say you're going to, I don't know, Mercedes, and you're pitching them do you want to be involved in this thing? Okay, what does this TV package look like? Where are we going to see our logo? What would you say to them? Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. Do we own the footage? I don't know. Totally. I have no idea.
Yeah, like if you go to the extreme to imagine it, just imagine it gets bought up. And I'm not saying that Discovery is. This is you could view it as an opportunity. This could be like an opportunity to be bought up by a way bigger broadcaster. But imagine it gets sold to a real shitter. You know what I mean? When you used to have a terrestrial TV and you used to just press plus on the program button and it would just go through
Canal.
Oh,
Canal
mate,
Plus.
Yeah. Canal. Yeah. You just keep going and you just go deeper down a rabbit hole of just like...
It's on Babe Station.
Exactly. So you can't think that it wouldn't affect all of the athletes and everyone involved if it all of a sudden, if World Cup downhill mountain biking was exclusively on Babe Station,
dude,
it would have a massive effect on the sport, on the industry.
Effect.
Yeah, so it does matter.
A lot of unknowns. And I think Bernard, again, Pink Bike did this thing where they asked athletes, and I was going to try and speak to a few people and get their take on it that's not going to go on a massive website and see what people thought. Haven't got around to it, but there you go. Next week, maybe. Just interesting to think that Bernard's main thing was, owning his rights to the POV footage. And I don't know, again, as an athlete, that's kind of important. You want to be able to show your race run. I think we've seen, especially with something like Rampage, people are more interested a lot of the time in the run-ups, and they want to see behind the scenes. You want to see a race run, a track preview. And I feel like, and I might be off, that Red Bull has been suppressing that quite a lot. Only certain people can put footage out. Personally, for the growth of the sport, I want to see shit tons of it.
Yeah, Andros snapped his memory card at one Rampage as in protest. You know,
really?
he felt that the prize money and appearance money wasn't enough to just hand over everything. You know, do all of it. You build the event, you ride the event, you give promote the event, and then you give away the rights to your own images that you're pressing the button on and collecting. And
how interesting.
Yeah, and he took a stand and snapped his memory card, and like, I mean, it all seems pretty petty compared to what we were talking about earlier, but he does have a point, and it is interesting, isn't it? And like, Bernard's completely the same with that. If you don't own it, then it's like someone else.
Another thought I had, slightly different tangent but similar, is, you know, especially in other sports, I'm going to use boxing at the moment for an analogy. You've got someone like Jake Paul coming in and creating a totally different division. How feasible do you think that is, that someone could, or some big player, right? Maybe our mate from the other week, Kevin, is it Kevin, the billionaire, comes along and says, you know what, I'm going to host 5 races, 5 different countries. Prize money is insane. Yeah.
Well,
prize money is actually insane. TV rights are better. Own your footage. How many riders do you think jump ship? It's like the UFC and whatever.
Like, I guess there's the Monster Millions,
Bellator,
but Monster also sponsored the Supercross. But if they didn't,
I think that's ended.
I wonder who's doing that.
I think that's ended for next year. I don't think they're doing it next year.
I guess the thing is, like, I sound like a bit of a dickhead, but I actually did my dissertation on external sponsorship from outside of the sports, from big corporate companies. And I can't remember what the case study
kept was. That one quiet for 2 years.
Not helpful. But it was like an insurance company pulled out of the rugby league, and the argument, I think, or the reason I brought it up in that bloody essay thing, which was painful, was that they had no interest other than their sponsorship. So you could say that Red Bull have now gotten, you know, it's like they are one of us. It's not like the same as if a completely unrelated.
Well, it's like Oracle with Red Bull and F1.
Yeah, exactly.
Oracle's
exactly. If they pull out, if Oracle came in with load of money,
really.
That money isn't necessarily going to be there next year for mountain biking. Do you know what I mean? And I guess that's where Red Bull is actually not I don't feel the same anymore about them. I feel like they've kind of grown with the sports that they support to a point where they're kind of, they don't work without them.
They've got like so much more skin in the game. I think a lot of it, someone like Oracle or Santander or something like that, a lot of it is tax write-off, right? So they'll come in and just be like, yeah, cool, Formula 1 team, slap our stuff on there. How much money can we get rid of? 30 million. Cool, get rid of it. Whereas, like you said, Red Bull have grown a sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it sells energy drinks, which is ultimately what they're trying to do. You know, that is also a thing, but they've also done so much more for the sport than just throw money at it.
Absolutely, they have. They've done it in a good way. Absolutely, yeah.
So, Red Bull, they took UCI
10 years ago,
10 years ago. Were there these sorts of conversations when Red Bull took over?
Yeah, Monster used to.
Freecaster
did it. Then like different companies would sponsor different events, wouldn't they? Because I remember Monster used to be at Fort William, like with a massive. There was loads of Monster presents, like banners on track. It wasn't every race, but it was like they used to spono some of them when it was Freecaster. Yeah.
And so did then Red Bull come out and say it's going to be free to watch all year round, basically, and won't cost you anything when they started? Or did people also think that?
I can't remember, dude. I don't really remember the transition.
I remember it was always going to be free, especially when you think it was called Freecaster before. So it was like, you know, that was a big part of the discussion. I think that it was, and you know, for Red Bull, it's like they're not there for ticket sales, are they? You know what I mean? That's what makes you.
Imagine if Discovery come in and say, we want Freecaster Warner back in that booth. So load him up on beers, Go shoot your shot, because the free, you'll not remember those, Benny, but the Freecaster days of Warner commentating were pretty iconic. He used to get loose in that comedy box. It was a comedy box, but a commentary box.
Wicked.
Yeah, it was good, really, really good. So, and then I think Red Bull have taken Rob and honed him into what he is now, which is
they've
amazing.
Taken the sport, haven't they? Really, when you think about it, back then they've taken the whole sport and made it more professional. So, yeah. I think it. What I wonder is whether they're going to take the same team. You know, like Bill, who's on a camera, the people that set up the live feed, switch the buttons. Whether it's literally just going to be that same team. So they're like,
or they'll just can everyone.
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting. I think it's something that as a podcast we should just keep an eye on it, see what's going on, see if we can get any inside knowledge, because I think people, ultimately we are a mountain bike show sometimes, so not just war correspondence, but we should try and keep an eye on this and see how it's going to progress, because like you said, it could make or break a sport, which is insane to think. Benny, quick Google for me, dude. Disc golf TV rights. Anything on there, mate? Let's see what disc golf gets, because we better be 5,000 times bigger than that shit.
We're about to get shut down, dude. It's going to be on fucking
the Disc Golf Network.
Of course there is.
That's what it's called.
£8.85.
It's pay-per-view. Get fucked.
It's pay-per-view for the Disc Golf Network.
Is there paint drying network? No, that's mean.
That's
mean.
mean.
That's pointless.
That's mean.
I just rebelled because I got so shut down by the whole community before.
Yeah, man. We'll get them back. How was Italy, though, man? If you could give us an overview of that, that'd be nice.
Italy was fantastic, thanks. I was there for... It's called the Bike Connection. Oh, I've already talked about it, haven't I? I told you about it.
Yep.
God, it must be annoying to listen. I'll tell you about when I'm going to go, and then I'll tell you about it when I come back. It was great. It was a bike show. I was there for Goodyear for a product launch, which you'll be hearing more about soon. And it was cool. I got to go. I got to just do relentless laps with a load of journalists, and then afterwards we had a distributor meeting for Goodyear. So got to meet all of the guys that sell the tyres around the world and ride with them as well. So a lot of riding. But I was in Tuscany, day one. It was overcast. I was looking around. I was thinking, doesn't look like much mountain biking around here. A lot of olive groves. It's really, really beautiful. It's in a place called Massa Maritima. I had to write it down because it's too many syllables for me to remember. Anyway, so I got in that uplift truck and went to the top. I couldn't believe the view. What a beautiful place Tuscany is here. Like it's incredible. And the hill was really big. It was like a 360 metre hill. So when you're doing laps of it, particularly when you're pedalling up, you feel it, and that's why I'm tired right now. That's why I've got bags under my eyes. I've quite simply done too much riding, which I'm very lucky.
It's a bad point, isn't it? It's a bad situation to be in. Too much riding, the dream right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
God
it
bless
was really
you, man.
cool, dude. It was really cool.
Good.
The scenery was amazing as well. It's like, do you know cork grows on trees, right? I mean, obviously it looks like a type of wood, but it's like a bark, basically. Cork is.
Yeah. I didn't know that, actually. But I did know it, but I need a refresher. You know?
They're the coolest looking trees. Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
No, I don't know what that is.
Really cool film, really cool movie. You like it.
Okay.
I can't remember who the director is, but he does movies of that similar sort of style. Anyway, it's all these trees are all like crooked and haunting looking, and they look ancient. And the cork grows in the bark out, and then they harvest it, and then it grows out again. I found it really interesting anyway.
So it's like bamboo, it's sustainable, it just keeps coming back.
Yeah, it keeps coming
wood.
back. Yeah, like wood. But the trees would have they've got really dark bark underneath the cork.
Right.
So they get harvested from the it looks like from the waist down. They're this dark bark, and then above they're this thick, clumpy
oh wow,
cork. Yeah, I thought it was quite cool. It's the first time I'd seen a cork tree. There was also a lot of wild boar. See, this is it. This is the shit that I take away. It's terrible, isn't it?
I wonder why cork is used for corks. Why is cork used?
Cork, I guess it's sealing properties for glass bottles. It's interesting, isn't it? Because they obviously have a lot of wine coming from the region and olive oil both use cork to seal.
It also severely, I don't know if you say this word, severely retards the oxidation process, allowing wine to age and evolve slowly over time. Yeah.
You like it? Do you like a bit of wine, David?
I do actually. They allow it's interesting. It allows a very minimal amount of oxygen into the wine over time.
So it just naturally seals a product really well.
Yeah, and yes, Ollie, I do like wine.
I could tell you're that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I pretend to be. Like if I get a wine in a restaurant, I'll swill it, I'll sniff it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I like the look of it. I like the experience of wine. I'll always order quite an expensive wine.
Really, yeah. Have you ever
said not be able to tell the difference?
Have you ever said this wine's corked? Just try it on.
Only if I've corked one, or if I've done it myself. Like, I don't know, down the trails or something, and you're smashing it in with a spade. I don't know. Not in a restaurant, no. But wine's one of those things that I'd love to know. We've got the same interest in a certain podcast, Fighter and the Kid, and Brian on there's knowledge of wine is fascinating to me. How he knows wine, he can tell you where it's from, the grapes, the process, the notes. Chocolate, vanilla. I can't do any of that shit, dude, but I like to think I can.
There you go, good.
Yeah, I like to buy an expensive wine.
Nice.
Me and my friend have been doing it for a few years. So we started where we bought each other a £10 bottle of wine. This is about 5 years ago. And every year on your birthday, so my birthday and his birthday, you go up in £10 increments. So we're on like £50 a bottles of wine now. And the idea is we keep going. So we got to start doing well out of this thing, dude, because at some point we're gonna be talking expensive wines.
Yeah, right. Do you taste the difference in expensive ones? Are they nicer?
I think so. Yeah, I do. I mean, a cheap wine you can tell because it's quite chemical tasting. It's quite bitter. You can definitely taste that. But also with the other ones, with the expensive ones, it's a lot more fruitier, that's smoother. Yeah, a lot more fragrant. Definitely is. Benny I bet Benny's a wine guy from down, that southern.
White wine spritzer.
Yes,
please.
There you go.
I don't do white wine, you see.
Yeah, there you go.
White wine lemonade, delicious.
Jesus Christ.
Lemonade in there. Now you're talking, Benny boy. Yeah, lemonade in there. I could hack that.
So good.
I can't believe that wine is nice.
Did you drink some nice wine out in Italy?
Nah, dude? I don't touch that shit. I absolutely despise it.
Too busy staring at
trees.
I hate
everything about it. I think it's cool. I think it's cool. The whole process is very cool, and the aesthetic of wine is. I really like that. It's like aging it, and that some years are good, and like the actual vineyards themselves are very beautiful, and like often the packaging's cool, and the history and all of that. I do really like it. But the taste of it tastes like arse, and you can't tell me otherwise. I'm not going to take it.
Wow.
Champagne I find unbelievable. Yeah. I'm like looking around the room like, are you serious?
Yeah,
this is meant to be nice. Are you serious? Why are we all pretending?
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree 100% on that.
A lot of things make me feel like I'm a complete fucking alien, and wine is one of them.
I find the pairings really interesting though. When you pair something, it's like, okay, so this wine goes with this food, or I like that, man.
It's fancy,
especially
like
Spanish food. A paella with a nice white wine, dude. Come on.
There you go. Yeah.
Let's go.
It's sick. It's something that I just don't understand. It's not something I criticise. It's just that I don't understand it.
Just don't get it.
Yeah, that's fine. You're allowed. That's fine.
I'm a child, giant child.
Yeah, for sure.
It was amazing though. It was really cool.
Good.
Yeah, and the riding was really cool. It's like there's a lot of I think there's a lot of like the Swiss XE team train there.
Okay.
So it's a known area for riding.
Yeah, I think Nino's dad has a house there, Schurter. So and I think just it was nice. It was like there were some steep tracks. I mean, I literally got to try out everything. It wasn't amazingly warm, but we just got so many laps in that I got to try out all of these different spots. Yeah, it was really cool. I'd really recommend going there. Yeah, it was good.
Good. Was it a specific like trail centre or not, or is it just all naturally stuff?
Yeah, I should find that out, shouldn't I? The bike shop. So Massa Maratina.
Oh, is it bike Massa? Yeah, because Warner's just been there, right?
He has. On what are the chances? So bike service Massa Maratina actually Massa Maritima. Yeah, Massa Maritima. They actually did the uplift there.
Right.
Anyway, one day I went and looked at their shop. Their shop is unbelievable. They're in the middle of this town. It's like voted one of Italy's most beautiful towns or something.
Wow.
It's like really is. Like there's Piaggios going around everywhere. There's people sitting out in the the square by the church, having Aperol
drinking
spritz,
coffee,
drinking coffee, smoking fags, and then they've just got this like all of the buildings are made out of that rock's been there so long, and every building has
not
been
new
there
rock,
so
is
long.
it?
No, I got confused. I said two things at the same time. Then each building is really, really old, and it's made out of the rock that you ride down. So it just feels like it's part of the trails, and like every single like passageway looks like it's been there so long. You can see it's all worn down, and amazing place.
That's
really
sick.
cool.
Are we going to see some content? That's the main thing. Have we got vlogging?
I did some videos, but honestly, there wasn't really an opportunity. I got to hang out with Marco and his crew, Marco Fontana. He was there as well, which was really cool to have a teammate there. So we did a lap, so we'll probably put out a video from that. But otherwise, didn't really have much of a chance. It was pretty busy.
Cool.
You go from like product presentation to going out for rides, and each lap it's a lot. It's like I ended up doing like over 2,000 meters of climbing on one day.
Jeez.
And you just go up this trail. It's called Spaghetti. It is literally like, and you're taking distributors up there. And this is like a big climb for a distributor up like someone who doesn't necessarily ride, or they ride road bikes. You're just going wiggly, wiggly, wiggly all through these cork trees. Yeah. Crazy.
And how many times a day were you doing that? Like once or twice, or?
No, a lot more than that. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did a lot of elevation. Yeah, I was pooped, honestly.
Wow. Good
My
vibes.
last lap, I was like, because it's really hard to get the temperature right, and my last lap, I went up to meet Rob from Lone Wolf.
Oh yeah,
he was out there.
Cool.
And I went up to do a lap with him, and I got to the top, and I was like sweating loads. You know, it was like that annoying temperature where you don't know what to wear. So I sweat loads. Then I sat down, and it's getting dark, and then the sweat really does its job when you don't want it to, doesn't it? So I was just fucking freezing up there on top of the mountain. There's no one around. I've no contact with Rob. I don't know when he's going to turn up.
Oh,
yeah, it was good.
The dream. Couple of things I also want to mention. I'm doing the 4x4x48 this weekend. So that starts on Friday.
You've done it before, right?
Did it last year, yeah.
Are you ready for it this year?
No, not at all. Absolute opposite, to be honest. And there's a few things I've been toying with. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do it though. So my initial idea was, so for people who don't know what this is, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here saying I'm going to do it, but hopefully other people are going to do it as well. So the premise is you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, meaning that by the end of it, you've done a 48 mile run, basically. So that's obviously broken up into these 4-hour slots. So last year I used my house as the base camp. You know, had a bunch of stuff set up here, make it as easy as humanly possible on you. You know, you want to come in, you want to refuel, you want to get changed, and then basically chill, and then get back out. And usually about 3.5 hours after, right? It takes about half an hour to run 4 miles. So I did that last year. I did the same route every time. So I did it's flat, then it's uphill a bit, then it went downhill a bit, and then I turned around and came back. Uphill a bit, downhill a bit, flat. So I made it not easy. It wasn't easy. It was fucking hard, actually.
If you still did elevation, surely you've got to get a route that you don't have to do any elevation this year, right?
That's obviously what you do, but I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to do my initial idea, and still might happen, so maybe people are going to come along on this little journey with me, was to do it without a home base.
Yeah.
So to do it as a 48-mile loop, obviously
Bloody
meaning...
hell, so you actually stop for 4 hours just on the side of roads and shit.
Just wait. Obviously do it all off-road, like trail running.
Fucking hell, you up for that? Yeah. Just
that's
sitting
my
in the woods for 4 hours.
That's my idea, was to do that and to sleep rough every night.
Yeah.
You know, sleep in wherever you stop after 4 miles, and then do it as a loop to get round and then land back at home. Or do a 24 mile loop, land at home, and then reverse the loop back again.
Yeah.
So that's my... But the only issue I've got is at the moment I don't have any outdoor camping stuff at all. Like, I've got a sleeping bag, but I don't have like a bivvy or anything like that. So I've been looking, trying to find the stuff. So that might not happen. So what I think I'm going to do instead, maybe I'm going to
get a hammock.
I might save that for next year, doing the all outdoor stuff. So what I'm
Yeah.
going to try and do is I can do it as a trail run from my house instead. So it's basically steep as fuck uphill and round a loop and then back home is roughly 4 miles. It's just a tiny bit over actually.
So then
I
you'd
think
be able
this
to
year,
do a lot of elevation.
a lot of elevation, yeah. And then also I'm going to try and break it up a little bit. So I do go out and do like 1 4 mile run in one direction, wait the 3.5 hours and then come back again. And then do that a couple of times just to try and mix it up
that'll
as well.
make it unbelievable, like way harder.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be harder. But that's kind of what I want, dude. Like, I've been
Yeah.
struggling with my own mental health a little bit. Like, I've obviously been injured, so I kind of want to prove to myself that I can do this. I'm not running at all at the moment because I've pulled both of my calf muscles, so that's going to be pretty shit, to be honest. But I'll get through it. But yeah, I'm just trying to make it, like, put a bit of a spin on it to make it a little bit more difficult. You know,
Yeah.
my idea is to try and do it for charity, which I'm probably not going to do now because I don't have time to organise it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's this weekend. So
Wow.
basically, if anyone's listening to this and it's and you want to do it, shoot a DM. We've got a little WhatsApp group been set up. Anyone doing it can join, and you know we can chat and help each other, support each other through it because it is more of a mind game as well than a physical thing.
Mate, good on you.
No, it's not. It's a bit of both. Actually, it's about a 60% mind game, 40% physical.
Is it? You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it's just like that 12 and that 4 p.m. because you run every 12, 4, and 8.
Yeah.
So I'm started at 12 on Friday, which means I'll finish at 8 on Sunday. So every 12, 4, and 8. So obviously that 12 and that 4, that's a tough one to get up, to get out of bed or off the couch or whatever, and drag yourself on a 4 mile run in the dark, cold and wet. And it's going to rain all weekend here as well. So that's one of the reasons as well. I'm not too keen on being outdoors for 2 days. I'll just be.
I think it will add a lot to it. I actually think elevation will add a lot to it. It's only over the last but it's probably only been like 5 years since I've really paid attention to elevation. Like when someone says to you, "Oh, we're going to do a 2,500 meter day or whatever," or you know,
big days.
Like if you do the difference. I don't know if our listeners really pay attention to it, but you can make 10 miles way worse than a 40 mile on the flat. You know, like you can make it just really unpleasant.
I was looking, so that when I did this last year and I did it all on the road.
Yeah.
It was taking me about between 26 to 28 minutes per run. For me to do the one that's a trail run, which is all off-road from my house, it's like closer to 40. So already like you're adding because it's just so steep going up. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Best of luck, dog. Best of luck.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. I was just looking now, see what the elevation is. It's only just shy of 400 feet elevation, that run. So over time, it's going to be about 4,800 feet.
4,800 feet. What's that in meters?
I think because it's times 12, isn't it? So it's 12 runs. So it's man, it's like Strava's so shit. Like literally, I've just looked at
1,400 meters.
I've just looked at the exact same run from 2 days before, and that's 450 feet elevation.
Do you say
so, I don't know.
1,400 meters?
Yeah, 1.5k, 4,800 foot is 1.46k.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what it's going to be roughly over the 2 days.
Nice.
Good
on
times.
you. Good on you. That's gnarly.
Good times. We'll
That's
see how it
gnarly.
goes.
I'd love to
keep
join
an
you.
eye.
I'd love to
No, you
join
won't.
you. I would. I'd love to be able to run. I'm sorry. I don't
can't
mean
run.
to. Yeah, but I fucking.
I know what you mean. Like I can
really
run, but I just can't run at the moment.
Yeah. Have you seen me try
I'm
and
actually
run?
okay.
It's miserable, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Bloke can get barely walk.
Yeah, it sucks. Dude, it sucks. I guess you could do it on a bike, couldn't you?
Yeah, a lot of people do it walking. A lot of people do it on a bike.
Do they?
4 miles.
So you have to do 4
a lot of
miles
people
on a
walk
bike.
it.
So you could do 4 miles in way less time, right, on a bike?
Oh yeah, fucking hell. 4 miles on a bike. Yeah,
It'd
piece
still
of
just
piss.
be mentally really difficult to go out.
It's still hard to
pedal
get
around
up and
like
get
a pleb,
get going at 12 and 4 and 8. You know, they are all quite difficult.
I mean, on a
I'm
bike,
looking
it'd
forward
feel
to it, though,
even
man.
more pointless because it'd be over quicker. So you'd be like, oh, why do I have to get up and
Yeah,
do
it was
a
like 10 minutes.
15-minute run? Yeah.
Over it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it in a way. I need something. That's why I was trying to make it a bit more hard on myself because I just feel like I need something.
Good on you.
You got any watching or listenings we should throw in there?
Mate, I've got absolutely nothing I've got
That's
absolutely nothing. I'm afraid. I got back. I got back last night. It's a 13-hour journey. It's from Rome. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Door to door, it was 13 hours, and it was just like buses and trains and this and that. I feel really tired. I don't understand how travelling makes you feel this tired.
Yeah, it does though. It wears you out. Like, I know from being on the road a lot back in the day, you feel like, oh, all I've done is drive around all week, but I'm absolutely fucked. You know, it's the constant being switched on.
Yeah, it's being responsible for where you're headed, isn't it?
Yeah,
you can't just sit there. If you could do, like I guess even a 14-hour flight gets you super tired though, doesn't it?
Mm.
But maybe it wouldn't if you were going in a straight line and didn't have time difference and you could just sleep. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Have you watched anything cool, Benny? Listen to anything
cool? Help us out here, Benny. Help us out.
Stuff.
Have you watched anything? It's just our
me.
Yeah.
I've got one. Yeah, I've got one.
Good on you.
It's only nice and short for people. Well, I've got two actually. One of them we could go down a massive rabbit hole, but let's do this for next week. But the Kanye West documentary on Netflix.
I haven't seen that. Is it good?
Dude, it's fascinating. It is so good. It's not called Donda. It's called Genius. Yeezus. I don't know.
Yeezus.
Dude, it is fascinating. I have so much more respect for Kanye West. I think most people probably think bit of an idiot, looks like he's lost the plot, blah blah blah. And yeah, maybe, but that guy's hustle and his work ethic when he was younger to make it was insane. And his marketing is, you can see from a really, really, really early, not an early age, but like early in his career, he's like, right, documentary, following me all the time. Like all of these massive moments in his life. Like there's a moment where he's showing, playing Through the Wire. Do you remember that song, Through the Wire? That one, where he's playing that to Pharrell for the first time, and it's all on film, and it's just this beautiful moment where Pharrell's just losing his shit, and he's like, "What is this? This is insane."
Right.
But yeah, he was like walking into Rockefeller. You'll see this dude. You know, he'd just start rapping to like secretaries and like anyone that had listened to him, just trying to get noticed. It's crazy, man. Like his work ethic and that drive, because he was a producer and no one would take him seriously as a rapper, and then obviously College Dropout just blew the fuck up.
Oh, I really
so it's super interesting.
To seeing it, yeah,
it's good.
I actually...
There's 2 parts out now. There's there's one every week.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There's Vision and Purpose are out, and Awakening's coming next, isn't it?
Yeah. There's one a week, and they're all about an hour and a half. Tomorrow. I think they're every Wednesday. Yeah, they're every Wednesday.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Yeah, dude,
sure.
So good. Like really, really, really
good
actually
footage. Thought about him the other day. I don't know if we talked about it on the other podcast, but I really hate all the memes and stuff about him, because he's obviously going through a tough time at the minute, and like all of the I hate those memes about the dude.
But he's always had it as well. Again, you see in this documentary, he's always had issues, like mental health issues and stuff.
No
he's
doubt.
Always...
But like the jokes that people make, the little funnies about him.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's splitting up with his shit. You'd never make fun of someone. If it was someone close to you, you would never make fun of them. You should treat people like...
No.
You know, it does make it, for some reason, the ones of him just made me think that. Like, he's clearly just at a basketball game, like, struggling, and then people are taking a picture of him and then making fun of a tweet that he's done about some new guy banging his the mother of his daughters. You know, it's like
Pete Davidson.
Yeah, who I'm a big fan of, by the way. But like, what I mean is the it's not his wife moving on that's the problem. It's people ridiculing the dude who's having a shit time. That's what I was getting at, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, it doesn't concern anyone else, does it? What he's going through, but everyone seems to make it about their business.
No, just like he's not in control. He's struggling, and he's like got a history of struggling. It's not one to make fun of. Like if he all of a sudden actually does something really bad, the fucking memes won't be that funny then, will they?
No. Like, I think the next episode of this documentary now is like where it all starts going a bit crazy. But these first two, man, you can't not love the guy. Like, I've been listening to Kanye West music a lot because I'm like, wow, actually I forgot how good this shit was.
Yeah, cool.
Because it's all tarnished now with all these negative things in the press about him. So I've been watching that, but also I've got to mention this too. Supercross rider AJ Catanzaro is also a YouTube content creator. Yeah, he's done a really interesting video where he rode Supercross practice mic'd up and talks about how he's negotiating rhythm sections. It's fascinating.
Oh,
really,
sick.
really cool.
That sounds well good.
I've never seen anyone do that before. So I just found it so
good.
cool. And it's like first practice too, so he's like trying to figure out rhythms and he's like looking around at what other people are doing and stuff. Super good.
It's interesting when you hear someone talk about it, where they go like, "Yeah, I do 2, 2, 3, 2," or like how they
and
explain rhythm.
He's like cases, and he's like, "Oh, shouldn't have done that," and he's like, "Right, seat bounce," and he just talks you through the whole thing. It's fucking cool. So I found that pretty good.
Seeing
to watch
the
as well.
last Supercross, I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but because Kai Haase, the FMX guy, he was trying to race. I put it in my video, but like seeing him like you know how good he is at jumping, and then seeing him like mess it up, it makes, because when you see Ken Roxon lap over and over again, it just looks quite easy. It looks like robotic, doesn't it? It makes you realise when you see someone you know is really good. Or like you're saying, when you see someone, the behind the scenes and what goes into it, it's well impressive, isn't it?
It's fascinating, really, really cool. And Supercross is insane at the moment. The racing from the weekend, the Triple Crown was crazy good.
Chance, yeah. I look forward.
It's good, man. No spoiler alerts on this channel.
Nice one.
Then that's it, really. Listening, I found a new band that I really like. They're called The Dirty Roses. Them Dirty Roses, which is like a soul sort of like country. I don't know, it's a bit of everything.
Oh, cool.
Like blues. And I think for the topics, that was about it. I did McDuff's podcast the other day, which I really enjoy. I love sitting and talking to Matt. It was a long one, but that'll be out. It's going to be out in a while, actually. It's going to be about 6 weeks, so I'm not going to plug it too hard.
How come?
Matt, because Matt takes his time, man. He edits these things down pretty good.
Oh, he actually edits the audio.
He's also got a bank as well, so he's got quite a lot of episodes ready to come out. So mine just sits towards the end of that. So
that's cool.
I'm looking forward to it coming out, though. Me and Matt are working on something as well, a little behind the scenes stuff, which I'll talk to you about Ollie off air. But it was good, really nice. I love Matt.
Amazing.
Like, so cool just to sit and chat to Matt about some of the shit that's been going on with my life. And it was nice to be, once, I don't like the word interviewed, but to just have Matt just asking questions.
Yeah, I guess you can chill, can't you? It's quite nice, really.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Just sit and relax and just talk about stuff. So, yeah, all good. Shall we see if there's a few listener questions?
Let's do it.
This has been a bumper episode, eh?
Mate, I tell you what, I feel low energy now that we've talked about fucking
apologies.
Shit that we don't know about. It's just exhausting. It's just scary, isn't it? All of it's scary.
It is. But let's just have some fun with some listener questions.
Please.
Boots and cats
Listener questions. That was alright, man. I'm impressed.
Please.
At Oaths.
Oh,
how tall is Henry Wilkins?
Oh, piss off. He's 6'5". That's even. Don't be fooled. That's even. He rides for focus, and he's trying to highlight the fact that my brother's taller than me. I guess that's all I can imagine he's trying to do. My brother's now playing for. Oh, did I tell you actually? I went to a game the other day. My brother's signed back for Surrey Scorchers.
Oh, yeah, get in.
Good, yeah. So when you're next over, we can go for a game. But unfortunately, on his debut game, it was so soul destroying. You know, this was like his big return. Big standing ovation from the crowd. It was really cool. Everyone's hyped that he's back in our hometown playing. You know.
Where did he go? Where did he go to?
Guildford, Surrey Scorchers.
No, but where did he go?
Oh, he'd been away. He'd been Worcester. Was it Worcester? I think Worcester he'd been playing for, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, this was his return, you know. It was sick. And then, like, fucking the first play or something, he hit a screen funny and twisted his ankle and had to be carted off.
Oh, is he okay? What's the update, man? What's the update?
Yeah, I think it's not as bad as he thought it was. He felt a pop and he thought he had just really properly done it.
Weak ankles in that Wilkins family, ain't it?
Right?
There's weak ankles.
Fucking hell, it sucks. Sports, dude. Like, people say they're good for you, but
weak ankle
Wilkins. Yeah, I'm not sure they are. We've got ankles of cheese. But yeah, he's back playing again, which is wicked.
Good.
Yeah, there's nothing like having a big basketball game to go to on a Saturday evening. Go and sit there with Mother Wilkins, watch with my siblings, and go and watch Henry play. It's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, someone that has... I'm just going to use this as a catalyst to promote something.
Oh, please.
Is Stim... Can we get an Australian version of the Winter Defiance Handbook? So, I'm just going to put a catalyst here. Well, no. But so these these Defiance Handbook things have been like quite popular. The Winter Defiance Handbook did really well. The Injury Defiance Handbook's been doing really well. But we just launched another one on the Hookit website. So it's called Darkness Defiance, and it is a mudguard design competition. So you can... Basically, what you got to do is design a mudguard. They're all going to go into a hat. Well, we're going to pick the best one, and then the winner wins a bunch of stuff from Hookit. We got 2 tickets to the Fort William World Cup. We got signed jerseys from the guys at the Union and girls, and also you get like a massive stack of these mudguards to hand out to your friends and stuff. So if you wanted something to do towards the end of winter, Darkness Defiance, it's over on the Hookit products website. It's all free. Just get your pens out, get creating.
I think,
and apologies to being rude about the Australian thing, but I just think the Defiance Handbook thing's done, and we are going to host them, both of them, on the new Ride Companion website soon.
Plus, what kind of winter do you have in Australia anyway? Am I wrong
exactly.
on that?
Go outside, wrestle a crocodile, fight a spider. I don't know. Do something.
Did you know? I think we're on the last day of the meteorological winter. I think we're essentially now finished with winter, in theory.
Is winter over?
I mean, it doesn't look like it's over when I look outside, I'll be honest.
Feels like it up north, man. I can't keep moving. I'm moving away from the sun all the time.
Yeah.
Trying
it does look nice.
You know, I could just go here. Look at that. I look like I'm in Barbados. Stuff to go. Okay, at GusGinger03. Davey, what flavour of candle were you drinking last episode? Okay, so a lot of people keep making fun out of my cup, but it's just a cup from Asda. It's not a candle. At Full English, any book suggestions? I'm missing Davey's chats with Macduff. So that's nice. Thank you, Full English. Again, there's one coming up. It's going to be on Matt's channel, so make sure you subscribe to the Matt Macduff Show. I'm reading... Where is it? A book called Think at the moment. That's my book review. It's a Idiot's Guide to Philosophy, which is quite nice. Quite enjoying it.
My forever one that I suggest, which I think would be good at this time anyway, is Factfulness. That's a really good book.
Okay, yeah, you've mentioned that a few times, haven't you?
Worth
I think I might have bought that as well. You know.
Have you read it?
I think I bought it. I don't know if I've read it though.
Read it.
I will do.
I reckon you'll love that. Yeah.
Okay. At Ben Cornelius, are you going to Malvern's Classic?
I don't know yet. I actually have no idea.
No,
I don't know when it is or anything.
When can you talk about that thing you told me the other day? The big news.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
Hold your horses, boy.
Coming soon. Okay. What else we got?
I'm always very impressed that you managed to go through these whilst we're like live, you know, because it is difficult, isn't it? Because you must have so many that are like just like pink or brown or like
There's a lot. There's a lot, and trying to find the best ones. There's a lot.
It's a hard job it's a difficult job. Yeah.
Yeah. Benjamin Aris 4. I really need help with a Tinder bio.
Okay. All right. So, did you have any experience on Tinder, Davey and Benny?
0.
Neither of you have any.
Nothing.
I had a bit of experience.
Yeah, of course you did.
You know what I mean? I tried it out.
Did.
I gave it a go. I gave it a good pop. You know.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, well, look, it's no different from meeting them in a bar. You still don't know if they're chicken head crazy anyway. You know.
Yeah.
So you have to meet them in real life eventually anyway. Right. So I found it super.
What did you go for?
So with the pictures, depending on what there's a lot in a Tinder bio.
Yep.
Depending on what pictures you put
First
up
impression.
and what order, you attract a different type of customer. You know. So if you're gonna put up a picture of you, maybe smoking a cigarette topless on a motorcycle, you're excluding a certain type of girl. Do you know what I mean? I found it really interesting.
I would love to see your Tinder profile.
It was
from before.
Yeah, It was a lot of it was like riding pictures. Obviously, not too many. I think I did like 2 riding pictures. I tried to make as few riding pictures.
What are we talking?
As possible.
Flips?
No, like arty ones, like dude,
like real candid, real,
like sunsets.
Guy.
You know, like arty, sunsetty ones.
Yeah,
they'd have to have a bit of like jump in them. So I'd be up high, so they know I'm playing for keeps. You know, so they know I'm serious.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't just be like a backflip shot, because after many years of experience, I've come to the conclusion that girls don't really care if you can do a backflip on a bike. Doesn't seem to impress George that much. So but most of the others would just be like outdoors and wholesome. That was the vibe I was going for. So it'd be like me, like in the great outdoors. They'd all be just from like road trips or like from different parts of the world.
So you also show that you travel as well.
Exactly,
big traveller. Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Well, it just makes you seem like more, as though you've experienced more of the world. I think that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
And then I chucked in a topless one at one point, and it was incredible how much it's dude. Yeah,
brave.
I chucked in a topless one, and it was incredible how much interest I got from from a real certain type. Benny coming in hot. This is more like it. This is what he's like in real life. He always plays so innocent normally.
God, I'm having fun.
So it actually it brought the heat, did it?
Yeah, it brought the heat. Chicken heads. Yeah. Crazy girls.
And how many guys did you get?
No guys, dude.
Really?
I'm not attractive to
guys. Must be a dead Tinder.
Wow. That's interesting. I mean, I'm just looking at Benjamin Harris's Instagram now. Not very active. Put a few posts on, mainly based in the Surrey Hills by the looks of things. Few photos at Surrey at the S4P. I mean,
how funny
I feel
is it? Like it must be a thing that people like actually make an effort. If you're not really active on social media, you don't really care. You haven't got a load of photos of yourself, which is good. For Tinder, you're really at a disadvantage, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are, yeah, you are. So, as for bio, maybe go with like, I'm already at a disadvantage from being here. I don't.
Good point.
Know.
We're not helping here. Yeah,
no.
I don't know. What do girls like? I think we're probably the wrong 3 guys to ask.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you much.
Just put like super rich, super massive cock, super good biker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I'd put if I was doing one. Honestly, I don't know. Just like your name.
Yeah.
Just like, why leave it cryptic? Just go with a name.
I can't
and just
remember
see what
what
happens.
I put in my bio. I think it was like some
it'll have been quite good.
joke thing.
Rich guy going travelling a lot. Sort of.
No, you don't. No, you want stuff to. No, see, that's where I think with the photos is important that it just gets like noticed, but it doesn't get mentioned.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
So you feel like the images are more important than the actual bio, right?
Definitely.
Well, because I think it's like that, isn't it? It's instant. You see a photo.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
Get them with the images, and then with the bio, you want to create intrigue. There we go.
Oh.
That's going to be So you want to
maybe you could just go with literally like intrigued ?
Yeah. For more. No. Intrigued. Not bad, is it?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Maybe you could go with 2 guys on a podcast made me write this bio.
I know, yeah, that's true. I know what would be a good one. Just using like social media as because it is a type of social media, right? So you want to encourage engagement. Maybe pick an interest of yours and ask a question that you know the answer for, and you know that someone else will know the answer for that as well. Or it could just be a funny question like, what is the most common cause of untimely beaver death? And then the people that will know the answer will then write it.
I'm swiping right.
Trees falling on you.
Right.
Trees falling.
There you go.
That's what it is. That's the most common cause.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a thought.
There you go.
'Cause then it gives a way in, doesn't it? Then the girl who's interested, they've seen the pictures, they're picking up what he's putting down. Then they can just research what the most common cause of untimely.
You've already
beaver
got
death
that
is.
like connection,
exactly,
haven't you? Going,
and you don't feel nervous about it. It's a good icebreaker, because then they can come in with trees falling on them.
So did you have big success on Tinder?
No, I went on one date. It didn't go anywhere.
Right.
What about? Did he go on a date with George? So that must have. Was that not a Tinder one?
No, it wasn't Tinder, dude. No, that was just real
There you
life.
go.
I was just out there in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. How about you?
How
How'd you
unique.
meet? Just real life as well?
Yeah, basically, my friend's ex-girlfriend had a yard for horses. That's where Emma used to keep her horse, and he was like, "Dude, you'd really like this girl up there."
There
Here
you
we are.
go.
There you are.
Yeah.
See, it works. Real life works. What about you, Benny?
Well, in case I hadn't mentioned it before, I do dance, and I met mine doing dance.
There you go. See? It's not to say that Tinder doesn't work, but we just...
Real
we all
life
happen
works.
to- Yeah,
Real life
works
works.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, put the phone down, go to a bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
A dive one. The seedier the better.
Yeah, get a real fun thing to take home.
We're giving the most terrible advice to probably someone who's a 14-year-old boy.
Well, if he's sorry, mate, just go, and he was of age, just go casino in Guildford and just,
Yeah, that's the way, isn't it? Yeah.
see what happens.
Just
Yeah.
get completely obliterated
just-
and see what
Exactly.
happens. I mean, I can't say I had much success with that, but I certainly tried it a few times. Weird, girls don't seem to go for guys who are lying down in a puddle of their own vomit.
Oh, stinger! That's
Strange.
Stinger.
Strange that, yeah.
Yeah, strange.
Okay, Francis D. What do you think to urban downhill races / Kerr's gnarly crash?
Ooh.
Big un.
We haven't talked about that. It's a big
Benny,
crash,
do you think we
wasn't
can pull it
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, like on the thing for people to see it if they haven't seen it.
Big crash, eh?
Mine. Yeah, Bernard. Yeah, Bernard likes to keep ownership though, man. We might have to.
He's hot on that.
Big horrible crash that, wasn't it? That's a really fast
Fucking,
section
yeah.
too, isn't it? Goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
it looked like he was just off balance, out of shape. I don't know. You don't get to see the whole, from the top of those steps where he
Yeah.
actually crashes. I don't know if he was in control there, but it looks like he's off balance,
Yeah, like a
slightly out of
bit of
control.
tire,
Taps.
squirm, ping. And then
Yeah,
by that point,
that
it's
could have
too
been
late.
way worse though, man. If you got jammed in some of those, that's what had put me off a bit of that urban downhill stuff. Is like a leg getting into some, railings or that
it's
sort of
horrible,
thing.
isn't it? There's just no nice
he okay,
way to
or?
crash. He is okay, yeah, he is. I think it was quite a tough pill to swallow to go all that way and then just
Because in qualifying, wasn't
crash
it?
in practice.
Yeah.
In quali.
Oh,
But because he didn't complete his run, so he didn't get to. Because qualifying ultimately is meaningless because it's not part of the
Yeah.
series. It just,
I wonder how athletes. So this is almost like circling back to what we were talking about. How athletes feel about that, because he's obviously gone out there. Appearance fee, no doubt.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's
You know,
tough
and
day
then
in
you
the
compare
office,
that
isn't
to
it?
a
It's
World
tough
Cup.
day in the office. I mean,
Like
yeah,
no appearance fee. Like it's kind of what we were talking about with like TV rights and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Don't know. Maybe better prize money. Could you? I guess certain other athletes are making a living going and doing those sort of events, just the urban stuff, or maybe
it's
the
not a sustainable
sort of like,
business model. But I dare say you probably get more views from a crash like that than you do from winning it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks that way.
It very
Vital
much
have shared it. Pink Bike have shared it. Like,
yeah, dude, horrific
yeah,
crash.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
glad he's all
Lucky
good
fucker.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But I love urban downhill races. Obviously, I love them. I build the courses, so I really thoroughly
Yes.
enjoy them. I've got one coming up in May, actually. So we're probably
Okay.
going to end up having to do a podcast from there. I might even invite young Benny along. That'd be nice.
I'd
wouldn't
love
it?
that.
You up for it, Davey? Come along too.
Where is it?
Mexico City.
Yeah, I'll come with you.
Go on.
Yeah, let's go.
Right, I'll best get the dates then.
That would certainly help
All right.
internet issues if we were all there.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah, exactly.
True that.
Or completely
Or
not help, 'cause
yeah,
we all have
it
no
doesn't
internet.
work.
Yeah.
Is it an urban downhill? Is it?
Yeah, urban downhill.
Can I ride it, or do you have to be invited?
You have to be invited. Just the jumps are... Well, it depends on the course, but sometimes the features are really quite big. So you'd have to be ready
Okay.
to hit something quite nasty, you know?
Okay. All right. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
at Jack Bohan 1. Can I get a shout out as I will be listening to this during my very first half marathon?
Oh, well done, mate.
Go on, Jack.
Come on, Jack, make it happen.
Keep going, mate.
Yeah.
Mind you, you're an hour and 43 minutes into this episode. He's probably finished by now.
Yeah. I think he would have skipped it as well. Imagine the bit about the war. He's just trudging through a wet field and he's just like, oh, come on, guys. Came here for laughs, not for this. Oh. Yeah, exactly, yeah. The bloody Ride Companion War Correspondence episode. Terrible.
At Gavin2508, if medically you were told to quit biking, what would you turn to instead?
Goodness. I've been told I couldn't ride.
Not journalism.
Yeah, not journalism, yeah. Or maybe, to be honest with you.
Maybe. I'd go surfing. Depends how medically
you'd
messed
go
up.
Surfing.
Really. Yeah, I'd turn to surfing. Just live by the ocean or something.
Sounds quite nice, doesn't it?
Sounds delightful.
So he's talking about he's talking about what would you do for a hobby instead?
Yeah.
I fucked up basketball. Can't do that.
Surely it's surfing.
No.
I mean, I saw you surfing in Madeira.
Fingerboarding. I nearly nailed you. I actually nearly run over Benny.
Oh yeah,
really?
It was close.
Yeah, dude, because I come from deep in the lineup. Because I play for keeps, I drop into the
Yeah, you're out the back.
I'm there, I can't see it. Where is it?
And then Benny's there with his armbands on.
He's out there getting towed in.
We can put that clip in as well. Yeah, I'm out there. I'm so deep. No, I'm paddle. I'm all natural, dude. I'm all natural. I'm paddling in. And I'm just fucking barreled and I can just see, just through all of the mist, through the foam ball, I can just see Benny. And he's just shouting like, help! Help! He's choking. Wait, have you seen the clip, Davey?
I don't think so, no. I don't think I have.
Me and Benny just look like
so kooky.
I'll send it through to the group right as we speak.
Terrible.
Amazing.
Yeah, surfing's not a bad shout, actually, dude. Yeah, I think we might be both on that hype, and then we could at least do it together. Maybe make a shitty podcast about it.
Yeah, maybe. I'd love to. I'll bring my helmet. Alex R. Simpson, does mountain biking have groupies? I'm thinking World Cup slopestyle events, Rampage, etc. I'll tell you now, podcasting doesn't have groupies.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I've met some really nice people, but I don't think they're the sort of people that are trying to sleep with me.
There's no podcast groupies.
It might be.
I mean, they won't even send in. We don't even have any females to send into our dating application, so let alone groupies, you know.
Fair.
Mountain biking definitely does, especially in those remote mountain towns, you know.
Yeah,
you see
I feel like it's like the daredevils are coming to town.
Slopestyle especially used to have. I think they're all just like.
I love that video. Sorry, I just had to watch it. It's so good.
Just amateur hour.
Oh, you've sent it already? Holy.
Yeah, I'll try and send when I remember.
Where you fall straight forward.
Zoom in at the end of it of me going over the bars. And then that's the last you see me for like a minute because I'm pinned against the floor. You know, I'm pinned against the floor, drowning because I'm so bad at swimming I can't get to the top before the next wave comes. Just pinned down. I look like. I tell you what, I look like. My surfing style. I look like a loser, dude. I look like a loser.
Yeah, it's tough to look good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, just think how long it takes to look like competent on a mountain bike.
Yeah. I look like a Playmobil
and then
figurine.
it takes 10 times longer, I feel like, on a surfboard.
Yeah, you're right. Benny, you just look like you're drowning.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not looking good for either of us, to be honest.
No, it's not really, is it? It's not.
Benny the Seal. That's funny. I reckon we wrap it at that. There's a bunch more listener questions, folks. But
I've had a good time.
I think
we've had a nice time.
I think it's been a good one. Yeah, it's been lovely. It's been a good one.
Thanks for hanging in there. And thanks for listening. And thanks to you two for just hanging out as well. Even if no one listens to this one, gets this far.
Always
nice
hanging out
with you anyway.
For sure. For sure. We've got Athlete Search launching next week.
Yeah.
Merch drop coming.
Should we get
hopefully also
should we get
next
a guest
week.
Next week? Let's get a guest. It's been a while,
please.
hasn't it?
Yeah,
I'll be at
please.
home. We'll be able to control it. It'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Who?
Hey, what
guys,
are you doing next week? You could come over. You're thinking of coming over soon, anyway, aren't you?
I can come next week.
You could come next week. We could do a live. We could do an actual episode in person. We could get Benny there with his camera. Oh my god, this could be fun. Have I just launched something live on air?
All right, I'm keen, man. Fuck yeah, let's do that.
Why not? I
can do that. I can do that next week.
Wicked. All right, we'll talk.
I think.
Thanks for joining us. Episode 34.
Live calendar check.
We're trying out here.
I think the only thing I'm worried about, Ollie, is that it's going to be after doing a 48-mile run.
Oh, dude, yeah, you don't want to drive.
That should be okay, though. I think it might be all right. Let's see how we feel. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll do it. We'll figure it out. I can't see it being a problem.
Don't tempt him.
Don't forget, folks, if you enjoyed this episode, leave a comment, guest suggestions below, like and subscribe at Odub_23, at The Ride Companion, at CU Productions. Not that you really do much on there, but yeah, why not? Show Benny some love.
Show Benny some love.
Show Benny some love, man. And thank you, everyone. It's much appreciated. Stay safe out there, folks.
Peace and love.
God bless.
All the best.